Project Boro is now available as a podcast on your chosen podcast providers, so you can listen to every episode on the go. Simply go to the description of this video, click the link to the podcast provider of your choice, and subscribe or follow Project Boro, and you'll be able to find all episodes past, present and future right there for you to listen to on the go. Well. Boro record back-to-back wins in the league, beating QPR at Loftus Road for only the fourth time in our history. And we kept our first clean sheet on the road since October. This was a fantastic away performance and has got to be the template going forward.
He's in, and he's snuck it across to Hayden Hutney!
What is up, guys? Matthew here. Welcome back to Project Boro, and today, well, I didn't expect this. I'm talking about Boro winning away at Queen's Park Rangers, which is such a rarity. As I said at the start, our record at QPR is absolutely terrible, and their recent form as well, they've really picked up under Cifuentes, and it had all the hallmarks of one of the toughest types of away fixtures that you can come up against in the Championship. Away side, fighting for their lives, playing well, having a bit of a resurgence under their relatively newest manager, and that's what makes this result, and I guess the performance as well, even more impressive, because Boro went there, they maintained the similar setup to what we saw against Norwich, and it is clear to me this is the way to go away from home. I think this is definitely what Boro should continue to do on the road. As I mentioned midweek, I don't think this is the way we should go at home, because I think when you're at home, as I said, you need to be the team on the ball, dictating, penetrating the opposition, controlling the game. However, when you're away from home, you can still have a degree of control without the ball. And I think we did that very well here in this game. You just have to make sure you've got a solid shape, you defend really well, and you take your chances when they come in. That's exactly what we did, because in all honesty, it was a very tight competitive game, especially in the first half. I thought QPR edged it in the first half. Boro weren't really that creative at all in the first half, if I'm honest. I think it was definitely QPR who were the better side. Seny Dieng was forced into a number of decent saves in the first half. Elias Chair nearly lobbed him from quite a way out. There was also a couple of other saves he made. The Boro defence had to make some really big blocks from corners and crosses and shots. I think first half, we weren't up against it as such, but we were certainly the side who did more of the defending. But the key thing was we defended very well. And I think for me, whether it was the template or not, or the instruction, I kind of looked at the first half and I thought this was Boro just trying to stay in the game, because we've seen it many times this season when we adopt that more attacking, possession-based approach away from home. If we concede first, yeah, it's game over. It's an open game. It's tough. And I think what we've done here today, we just wanted to stay in the game, not give away anything too simple, too easy to the opposition. You know, we have gifted sides goals in recent weeks. So I kind of went into half-time not underwhelmed. I mean, it wasn't the greatest half of football. It's not going to exactly be one that's remembered. And QPR did have the better of the chances, but I was kind of all right with it, because I think the way I was looking at it was that first half compared to Boro's recent away performances was a lot better. You know, the bar is low, albeit, you know, our away performances and some of the home performances as well have been dismal of late. So for me, just going in at half-time level, 0-0, having performed a lot better, we looked like we had a bit more intensity, we were in the game, we looked like we had some form of a threat going the other way. I was happy with that. And although we hadn't laid a glove on Begovic in the QPR goal, we just looked like we had more about us in this game, and it wasn't just attack versus defence. It wasn't like Stoke a week ago where we looked lifeless. You know, we looked absolutely lifeless. There was life in this Boro team in that first half, and we went in at half-time and we didn't weather the storm as such, but, you know, we were still in the game. QPR had some good spells, played some good stuff. I credited Cifuentes on Twitter. I said, you know, they're playing some tidy football, QPR, but we were in the game. And I thought at half-time, okay, that's a good basis for us to build on, because we'd had a couple of half chances. McGray had a shot wide, but again, you know, didn't create all that much. So I was hoping second half we would step it up a gear and say, right, we're in the game, we've got to half-time, let's go up a gear, push the boat out, push up the pitch, and try and get the game won. And that's kind of what I feel like we did in the second half. I mean, albeit QPR didn't start the second half very well at all. I thought we were definitely the better side who come out the tunnel second half. QPR are a bit slow, a bit sluggish to get going. Boro very much on the front foot, pressing really well, causing QPR to make a couple of mistakes and looking a little bit more likely in the opening exchanges of the second half. And I was really happy with that. I thought if we can get out there, go through the gears, take the game at QPR now and accept we're in it, and we'll go after it now. And we definitely did that. We pushed up the pitch and we looked a little bit more threatening going the other way. And despite QPR eventually growing in to the second half, Boro did get the opening goal, which I think is so important in games like these. You know, games that are very competitive, games that are very tight. Going the other way, had QPR got the first goal, their crowd would have got up. I think it would have been tough for Boro to win the game from that point. But getting the first goal was extremely important, because any momentum that QPR were looking to drive in that second half was completely sucked from them, and it gave Boro something to hold on to. And yeah, it was a fantastic finish from Latte Lath. A free kick from the right-hand side was headed up. Clark knocked it back into the box, and Latte Lath latched onto it really well and finished the volley, which crept in to the far post. 2 goals in 2 for him, which is absolutely massive. A goal from a set piece too, kinda, which in itself is a rarity with Boro. But it was really good and really important that we put ourselves in front, as I say. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I felt okay at the back. You know, I didn't think once we went 1-0 up, oh, it's a matter of time before we concede. You know, we've always looked vulnerable, no matter when, you know, the game state is like, in away games especially, no matter if we've just scored or if the opposition is on top or they're not. It always feels like Boro could just concede a goal or a big chance at any time. But I didn't feel that here. I felt like we actually not only had some control over the game, but we were relatively solid at the back. You know, the back five, I thought, defended really, really well. You know, first half, second half, put their bodies on the line, made some really big blocks at times. Rav Van Den Berg has to be credited. He made an outstanding tackle. It might have even been at 0-0. I can't recall if it was 0-0 or 1-0. But yeah, QPR got in behind. They'd gone round the goalkeeper. Dieng was out of the game, and it was a tap-in, essentially. And Rav made a tackle which had to be perfect. You know, if he takes the man down, it's a penalty. It's probably denying a goal-scoring opportunity. He gets sent off as well. He had to get it right. And it was an absolutely outstanding goal-saving challenge from Rav. And it essentially kept Boro, I think, at 0-0 and allowed us to go on and do what we did. So, yeah, we were absolutely fantastic at the back, which we can't say very often with Boro. And I think the shape and the approach, the fact that we're willing to give up the possession, sit off a little bit in scenarios like this, it works. And credit to the boys for that, and credit to Carrick for that, and the midfield two in front of them as well. I thought there was just a really good balance there. Johnny Howson and Lewis O'Brien, I thought, were fantastic in midfield. Arguably a little criminal for maybe not winning as many second balls in the first half. I think when Boro would concede possession or maybe clear a ball, you know, we would never win the second ball in midfield and we would instantly be back under some sort of pressure. But second half, I thought they were both much better at winning the second balls. And again, I just felt them sitting in front of the back line provided them with that little bit of protection, and I think Lewis O'Brien was always capable of picking up the ball and getting us up the pitch. He's very good at carrying the ball, Lewis O'Brien, and he always gave us that outlet to maybe counter on QPR as well. And something has to be said for the balance that O'Brien and Howson possess. You know, I thought during the game, Howson especially was absolutely tremendous today. But I feel like for the midfield pairing to work, he has to be in it, Johnny Howson. You know, I just don't sense the balance is quite right with any of the other midfield pairings. You know, Hackney and Barlasser, I feel like they're too similar. They both want to carry the ball forward. They both want to pass the ball. I think they both want time, albeit Hackney is quicker on the ball than Barlasser. I think we've seen, for the most part, in a two, especially in a two that has possession, Barlasser and O'Brien does not work at all. But you stick Howson alongside Hackney, Barlasser, or O'Brien, it works a lot better. And I don't know what that says about our midfield, the fact that 36-year-old Johnny Howson, you know, is a must start in there to make it work. But I thought him and O'Brien were absolutely tremendous in that midfield. And yeah, even after Boro scored, you know, QPR came back at us, of course, as you'd expect. They had another kind of period where they really come at Boro, but again, we stood tall. You know, we were really good. The wing-backs were fantastic, defensively and offensively as well. I thought Luke Ayling has come under a lot of criticism of late, and I think rightfully so, but he was brilliant today, you know, and I'm going to talk about his assist to the second goal shortly, but up and down the right-hand side, he was really, really good, as was Engel, and I think they work a lot better in a back five than they do a back four, because I feel like if Ayling and Engel push forward with a back four, there's no protection. There's not as much protection anyway behind them, and the centre-backs are just exposed to whatever comes their way, whereas if Ayling goes forward, he's got McNair to cover him behind, and if Engel goes forward, he's got Clark to cover him, and even if the centre-backs are a little bit out of position, you've got Rav in the heart of that as that extra bit of protection too. So that's why I think the back five wing-back system works better with Ayling and Engel especially, but they were both brilliant. And talking of Ayling, he played a big part in the second goal. Boro doubled their lead on 76 minutes and made absolutely sure of the 3 points. Again, a sign of what this system can do, and this is without us having all the pace on the pitch as well that we would maybe want to have as normal. But we won the ball in QPR's half, drove forward. Johnny Howson especially did really well to sort of recycle, keep hold of possession. He was patient and he waited to pick out the right pass, which was Luke Ayling on the right-hand side. And for the second game running, Luke Ayling picking out his man with a wonderful cross from the right-hand side. Of course, he set up Engel midweek, set up Force here, and this is Force doing what he does. You know, he's so good in and around the box. And back post, he picks out a wonderful header, loops it over the goalkeeper into the far post. And that was all she wrote. Boro doubling their lead, 2 goals in the second half. And we saw it out with a clean sheet away from home, which is astounding. It's astounding. We've not kept a clean sheet on the road since we beat Sunderland 4-0 in October. Of course, that comes with the slight asterisk that they were down to 10 men. If I've got my numbers correct, that is only Boro's 4th clean sheet in 44 away games. It's either 43 or 44. It's somewhere around that figure. But basically, it's our first clean sheet away in a long time. And we don't get many, which makes this, even more impressive for Boro. And I think overall, you've got to look at it as a pretty much perfect away performance. It's got to be the template going forward, you know, admitting completely, first half we had to do a lot of defending, we had to block a lot of shots, Senny had to make a lot of good saves, but just staying in the game and getting to half time and then pushing up the pitch a bit more. I think taking your chances when they come, that's what you want to do away from home. You know, you want to just weather that early storm until their crowd quietens down. I think before we'd have maybe gone for the opposition earlier, gotten caught, and I think whenever you give up the lead away from home, it's always an uphill struggle. So just maintaining and ensuring that you're in the game come half time before then pushing the boat out and going for it second half is something I would definitely love to see us do more. And I'm very impressed by Boro's performance here and the system and the game management. It's definitely got to be the way forward. As I say, I think as much as I think Carrick is on his way here to maybe cracking the code away from home for Boro. This won't work at home. That's got to be stressed. You know, at home, we've still got to try and find a way of being the side who doesn't sit off, the side who has possession, the side who has to make things happen and has to find a way through sides who are going to defend deep, are going to box out that midfield. We still, I think, have a little bit of a way to go at home. You know, Norwich midweek, they had a man sent off. Before that, as we know, we were getting dominated, essentially, and that's a Norwich side who went on to score 5 goals today, by the way. So, yeah, I'm still nowhere near convinced by Boro at home, and Carrick has to crack the code there. But away from home, this was a fantastic sign of what I hope we do going forward, because this is not an easy place to go, and QPR fighting for their lives, playing well at the moment to keep them out and win the game. Brilliant stuff from Boro, it really, really was. I know I've obviously talked about individuals already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as you can see, the Boro team much better today. Dieng made some great saves, the back three were all great. Clark got man of the match on FootMob, but I think all three of the centre-backs deserve credit. The full-backs were both very, very good for the second game running, affecting the game, both going forwards and backwards, as I've mentioned. Midfield pairing of Howson and O'Brien just provides such a good balance, I feel. And the front three, yeah, clicked once again. I know before we were really struggling going forward. You know, Carrick was making and I think overcomplicating the front line. He was having Silvera in the middle, Greenwood was up front in the middle, Force was sort of glued to the right-hand side. It wasn't working, as we know, and I think this three, again, just looks a lot more balanced. You know, Force and Lath, I think, have to still work together on how they work as a pairing up front, but I think having McGree in and around them works really well. McGree allowed to free roam and make things happen that way, and it's the second game in a row where both of our centre forwards have scored, which is another really, really huge positive. I think looking at the stats and momentum, you can kind of see what kind of game it was, especially first half. You know, there wasn't really a side that particularly dominated or was on top or had the opposition under significant pressure. I think we were sort of toing and froing a little bit without anything of note really happening, albeit QPR had the better of the chances. Second half, yeah, a lot more peaky, as I think the game maybe opened up a bit, but Boro took their chances when they come and continued to defend really well, which is great. And this is something you don't see very often from Boro, you know, giving up the ball, having less of the ball, but when we do have chances, we take them. And this is what a lot of teams have done against us this season, and it's nice to see us doing it to other sides. You know, just not dominating the ball, just using it when we've got it. And, you know, 4 shots on target, 2 goals. Scoring 2 from only an XG of 0.4 is something we've not seen very often at all this season. As you can see, QPR didn't muster much more than that either. And looking at the table, now, I'm going to hold back. I'm just stating facts. Now, I'm not hinting at anything. I'm just stating a fact, guys. This is where we are. Boro 11th. We've got a game in hand on Tuesday against Birmingham City. Win that, 5 points off the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get playoffs. I still don't think we will. I think there's just too many sides in between us and 6th that have just got that little bit more consistency, and I'm still not convinced by us at home. So I'm not going to go into the playoff conversation. I'm not even going to touch it. What I will say, rewind back 7 days ago, after that Stoke defeat, we were honestly not far from rock bottom in terms of the form, the mood, on and off the pitch, looking over our shoulders. And I said last week, you know, if we were to lose both of our games, we would be in it. Now, if you take the 6 points that we've won in that time away, we'd be where Bristol City are in 14th, albeit the gap still would have been 6 points. So, you know, the sides in the bottom wouldn't have capitalised on if Boro were to have dropped points. But you can see why we were starting to look over our shoulders and worry, because it looked like we were not, you know, where was our next win going to come from? It looked like we were absolutely finished after that defeat to Stoke. So I can only commend the side and Michael Carrick massively for turning things around in a week. I will add the caveat that the midweek game against Norwich, we were helped massively by a slice of luck with that red card that was rescinded straight away, by the way. So that just shows how lucky we were with that decision and how that changed the game, albeit we took advantage of the situation midweek. So fair play, you can only work with the cards you dealt kind of thing. But yeah, say whatever you want about Norwich, whether we were lucky or not. This performance today was absolutely wonderful by Boro, and it's exactly what we want to see more from away from home, and it's pulled us into the top half. It's pulled us away from any trouble. I said last week 2 wins would do it, and I'd feel like we're safe, and that's done it for me. So well done, Boro. The worries, the anxieties were short-lived. I'm not going to look up too much because it's the hope that kills you, especially with this football club. And as I say, I still think there's way too much quality and consistency in between us and the playoffs. But just to be looking ahead, to be more positive, and to see that we've made steps forward towards looking better, playing better, strikers scoring goals, a clean sheet as well, you can only be happy and commend Boro for doing just that. Looking ahead then, midweek, of course, we've got Birmingham City. It's our game in hand. We were going to play this weeks back, but Birmingham, I think, had cup commitments at the time. Yeah, it's nice to say that this is actually a place Boro have had joy at recently, in recent times. Normally, it's every away game we go to, it feels like Boro have terrible records there, but St Andrews is actually quite a happy hunting ground for Boro of late. We actually like beating each other at each other's places, although albeit we've done a little bit better at home to Birmingham of late. But yeah, we've had their number in recent times, so I'd like to hope that is going to continue. And the pressure's on at Birmingham, and they lost a big relegation sort of 6-pointer against Millwall today, which has really put them in amongst it. As you can see, Birmingham City 1 point above the drop, and they're in the midst of this relegation dogfight. So pressure's on at St Andrews. It really, really is, and that could make it a nervy atmosphere. It could make it a very nervy place to be. And again, I think if Boro score first, it's our game to lose at that point. If you give Birmingham the opening goal, gives them some hope, gives them a lifeline, I think we could be in a bit of bother there. But for me, get the first goal midweek, I think Boro are in a fantastic position. And as I say, if we win the game in hand, I'm not going to get too carried away, but 5 points off the playoffs, I think it will certainly give a bit of hope and confidence around the club, around the home ground for home games and the dressing room, etc. So it can only do us good, and we'll see what happens. But fantastic away performance from Boro today. Absolutely delighted. The boys deserve immense credit. Michael Carrick deserves immense credit. Let's build on it now. I think I remember when we beat Leicester, it was a case of let's build on it, and we just reverted back to being really, really poor. So let's back the win midweek up and the away win today with a victory midweek. And then suddenly we play Blackburn at home next weekend, which would be a great time for us to really put a good home performance in against another side who is right down there, and in the midst. And they lost away to Swansea, so another side who are in a bit of trouble at the moment. So a great opportunity for Boro in the next few days to really turn things around and ramp things up. And we've got two sides who are both really, really struggling at the moment. And, we've got Southampton away after that, which is a really, really tough game. So, yeah, the run ahead looks a little bit more favourable for Boro. I just hope we can put a run together, gain some consistency, and make the most of this wonderful performance today, which hopefully sets the tone going forward. But that's it from me. A huge performance, a wonderful win for Boro. Much more like it. Big ups to everyone at the club for getting us out of the absolute doldrums that we were in 7 days ago. Isn't it crazy how quickly football can change? If you've enjoyed this video, do hit the like button and subscribe for much more. Comment below your thoughts under the video too, whether you're a Boro fan, neutral fan, QPR fan. What are your guys' thoughts on you staying up this season? I'd be intrigued to hear. And if you're listening on any of the podcast providers, as always, do give me a like, a rating and a follow over there. That'd be much appreciated. And until next time, I'll be back midweek to see Boro and to review Boro's away game against Birmingham. I am working away Wednesday next week, so I probably won't have time to upload and react to the Birmingham game probably until Thursday, so it might be a slightly later Project Boro in the middle of next week. But I'll see you guys at some point then. Until then, do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Up the Boro.